All right, let's dive into a story that's literally thousands of years old, but feels like it could have been written yesterday. We're talking about Sophocles' incredible tragedy, Antigone. This is a story that gets right to the heart of a huge question. What happens when your own conscience, your deepest beliefs, come into direct conflict with the law?
So let's just put the central question right on the table because it's what drives this entire incredible play. What do you do when the laws of your family, your religion, your very soul are on one side, and the laws of your country are on the other? Whose law is higher? It's a tough one, right?
Okay, so here's the path we're going to follow. We'll start with a king's controversial decree, then see a sister's sacred duty. From there, it's pride versus principle, a prophet's dire warning, a total cascade of tragedy, and finally, the high cost of pride. So, let's set the scene. We're in the city of Thebes, and things are tense. There's just been a brutal civil war. And while the fighting has stopped, the peace feels incredibly fragile. The war is officially over, and Thebes is technically safe, but here's the kicker. The war was between two brothers, the sons of Oedipus. And in the final battle, Eteocles and Polynices killed each other. So now there's this massive power vacuum, and their uncle, Creon, steps in to take the throne. And Creon, the new king, wastes absolutely no time laying down the law. He draws a really hard line in the sand. Eteocles, who fought to defend Thebes, he gets a full-blown hero's burial, all the honors. But his brother, Polynices, who attacked the city, Creon labels him a traitor, and his body is to be left out in the open to rot for the birds and dogs to tear apart. Oof. And just to be crystal clear, this isn't some polite request. Creon makes it his very first decree as king. Anyone who even tries to give Polynices a proper burial will be executed. Period. For him, this is about order, about showing strength. It's loyalty versus treason, and there is no middle ground. Well, you can probably guess that this royal decree is going to cause some problems. And it does, immediately, because the dead brothers have a sister, Antigone. And for her, this has nothing to do with politics or treason. This is about her secret duty to her family and to the gods. And right here, through these two sisters, we see the central conflict of the entire play. Antigone's view is simple. The laws of the gods are forever, and they are way more important than any law some temporary king makes up. Family must be honored. But her sister, Ismene, is terrified. She's like, hold on, the king's law is the law, we're just women, we can't fight the men in charge, we can't fight the state. So what does Antigone do? Does she hesitate? Nope. She completely defies the king and goes out all by herself. She performs a symbolic burial for Polynices, just a light dusting of earth, but enough to satisfy the gods. And of course, she gets caught almost immediately. But here's the thing. When she's dragged in front of Creon, she doesn't deny a thing. In fact, she proudly confesses to everything she did. Yeah, and her reasoning is just so powerful. She basically tells Creon to his face, look, I acted according to divine law, and I believe that law is higher and eternal, compared to the temporary, man-made laws you come up with. She's not seeing this as a crime. To her, it's an act of faith, and she is 100% ready for whatever comes next. So, this incredible act of defiance, it's not just about a king and a rebellious subject anymore. Now, the conflict is about to get way more personal. It's going to tear Creon's own family apart. Because guess who shows up to plead for Antigone's life? It's Creon's own son, Haemon. And, plot twist, Haemon is also Antigone's fiancé. He comes in trying to be the calm voice of reason, trying to get his dad to see things from a different perspective, not just his, but the perspective of the people of Thebes. Haemon's argument is basically, Dad, listen, the people out there, they're whispering. They don't think Antigone is a traitor. They secretly admire what she did. A good ruler listens to advice, bends a little. But Creon's rebuttal? No way. A ruler's word has to be absolute. If I let her get away with this, I'll look weak. I'll be a joke. At this point, it's not really about law and order anymore, is it? It's about something the ancient Greeks had a great word for. Hubris. It means dangerous overconfidence, that excessive pride that almost always leads to a downfall. And you can see it so clearly in Creon. His pride won't let him bend. But you know what? You could argue Antigone has it too. Her certainty that she's right is just as absolute. They're both on a collision course with disaster. And in his pride and his rage, Creon comes up with a sentence. It's absolutely horrifying.
Antigone is to be sealed alive inside a rock tomb, walled up. He thinks this is clever, you see. This way, he's not technically killing her with his own hands. The state isn't executing her. He can claim it was her fate and that the gods will decide. It's a way for him to feel like his hands are clean.
So as Antigone is being led to her tomb, this living death, a new player enters the scene. And this is someone that even a king as proud as Creon has to listen to. It's the blind prophet Tiresias.
Now, you have to understand, Tiresias is the real deal. He's the city's spiritual guide, and his predictions have never been wrong. He arrives with a warning that is absolutely chilling. Creon, your actions have angered the gods. Seriously, angered them.
And the message is direct. First, the gods are literally refusing all the city's sacrifices. The holy fires won't light. Second, this means the whole city of Thebes has become corrupted in their eyes. Third, there's only one way to fix this. Bury Polynices properly and free Antigone. And fourth, if Creon refuses, he will pay. The gods will take a life from his own family in exchange. A corpse for a corpse. Okay, that finally gets through. The prophecy is so specific and so terrifying that it shatters Creon's pride. He's horrified. He realizes he's made a catastrophic mistake, and he scrambles, he rushes to undo what he's done. But it's too late. His change of heart comes way, way too late. The gears of this tragedy are already in motion, and there is no stopping them now. And what happens next is just a horrifying, rapid-fire cascade of death. First, Creon gets to the tomb, only to find Antigone has already hanged herself. Next, his son Haemon is there, and in his grief, he lunges at Creon with his sword. He misses, and then, in utter despair, turns the sword on himself. Finally, a messenger runs back to the palace to deliver the news, and Creon's wife, Queen Eurydice, hears that her son is dead. She walks away without a word and takes her own life, cursing Creon with her dying breath. So now we arrive at the terrible conclusion. Creon is left standing, but he's lost everything. His son, his wife, his future daughter-in-law, all gone. He is a king with nothing left to rule but a palace full of ghosts. And that brings us to the final gut punch of a lesson from this play. As the chorus says, wisdom often comes only through suffering. Pride gets punished by the gods, and that punishment teaches the hard, hard lessons of humility. Creon finally learned that lesson, but the cost was absolutely everything. And that leaves us with this one final, really haunting question. Was anyone truly in the right here? Antigone was so sure her divine law was supreme. Creon was so sure his state law was absolute. Neither one would bend an inch. And in the end, that stubborn, unyielding pride just destroyed everything and everyone they cared about. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In a clash between two immovable principles, can there ever really be a winner?